This is our weekly Sunday conversation by People's School, The Road to Ideology. For this week, we will talk about the coup d'etat shared by the family members of the people soldiers. So this topic has to do with the coup d'etat that was staged 2.5 years ago. In this coup d'etat, the military junta Min Aung Hlaing overthrew the people elected leader Aung San Suu Kyi. And one of the justification of the coup d'etat is really to tackle the failing situation of the Union Solidarity and Development Party, the USDP. And the military junta claimed that the election was flawed. And with such kind of fake justification, they arrested the president, they arrested all the elected leader of the public, and they also narrated the coup d'etat that the military is actually controlling or maintaining the stability of the country. This was their propaganda message for their military institution internal organizing motives. But their coup d'etat still hasn't been successful because there are all forms of revolution going on. So looking back the past, over 900 days of coup d'etats, the dynamic of this revolution is still very strong. The people are revolting the military junta in order to restore the democracy. The military are now acting themselves whichever way that they feel like to do. Recently, a very sad event happened in Budalin area. The student union places were raided. Some of the student union's leaders were killed. The whole country does not accept the military junta. The public are at their top of strengths in revolting the military dictatorship. So before the coup d'etat, what was their plan? What did they do as the propaganda campaign within the military institution before the coup d'etat? And what are the impact of the coup d'etat after staged coup inside the military institution are everything that we're going to talk about this week. We have panelists. They are from the family members of the people soldier. We have Speaker Ne Win Aung, who is the CDM surgeon, and we have Speaker Jo Zotu, who is the CDM soldier. We have Speaker Chi Pya Win. She is the wife of the CDM soldier, and we have public and audience joining in this conversation. Please share your thought and please share your comment through the Q&A box. So let me proceed with our round of conversation. First, I would like to invite Ko Jozotu for the round of introduction. I am Jozotu. I am from Navy, actually. By March the 6th, 2021, I joined the civil disobedience movement. I think that public really know me, so I'm not going to elaborate who I am anymore. Thank you very much. And Nawin Aung is the next person to introduce himself. I am the CDM Corpora I'm sorry, CDM sergeant from Navy, from Air Force actually. I joined the civil disobedience movement directly from Patain Air Force. Next is Ji Biao-wen. Ji Biao-wen is the wife of the CDM soldier who was posted at the front line. Please introduce yourself. I am the wife of Hein So Ji Biao-wen. My husband is the CDM soldier. By 2022, August, we join the CDM as a whole family. I guess that the whole country actually know our family backgrounds and everything. Thank you very much. Now, let us proceed with our panel discussion. Again, I would like to encourage public to join in this conversation by writing your comments in the chat box. Again, if you have any particular question, we have a specific Q&A session at the end of our panel discussion. First, I would like to ask Kyaw to the coup d'etat was staged by justification of Min Online saying election was flawed. There were irregularities in terms of the results of the election. So with this justification, he overthrew the elected leaders of the country. Although they gave such kind of that kind of justification, we understood that in the um, in the in the in the polling booth in the military during the election, they did all sort of dirty things, right? And cheating activities, and they also ask a particular soldiers casting vote more than one time, right? Although they say that the election was flawed, they were actually the one who did also all these kind of nasty thing. Can you please explain them, if you have any experience around these kind of irregularities, so to say? Thank you. Well, there are there were irregularities inside the military polling station. It was started at the early of 2020. There were administration office inside all the military camp. They kept all our identification cards actually, and the and then what they say is that um, I don't I don't have to go to the polling station because there were advance um, vote casted already. So this was what I experienced actually by 2021 February coup d'etat. They made all sort of announcement, and this um, there were these letters uh, came out from the military camp saying that due to COVID-19 intervention, the the uh, the candidates the candidates were um, violating the COVID special regulation. So they did all this kind of announcement. So saying that the candidate joining the election uh, was violating all sort of COVID intervention regulation. So NLD members were detained due to their violations of the COVID specific rules. So we got this kind of information, and we knew that it was not true. And because in the military camp, there were all sort of free movement going on. In the Navy camp, for example, there were individual came in in the military camp with a fake identification card. With the fake identification cards, they they managed to cast a vote in the polling station. So we knew that that's happening. So there were all the um, all the identification cards that they manipulated, that they copied, so that many more fake votes would be casted for the parties that they would support for. So we knew that they had all these kind of arrangement um, for for them to have more votes on the party that they would like to have, but on the other hand, they distorted that the NLD was to blame. Um, that the NLD was breaching the COVID-19 rules in their campaign, in their election, and everything. So in the television, in radio, in the living residential areas, there were a public announcement saying that each and everyone can go to the village administration office where we can cast a vote. So there was this voter list as well. So some of the voter lists are manipulated, particularly in the military. So after all this stage of coup d'etat, what they say is that, well, the voter list was wrong. The voter list was manipulated by the NLD. Actually, it was the voter list that they manipulated only in the military camp. And they also made an announcement in the military institution saying that the counting of the vote were wrong. So I was in Haingji constituency. The USDP party lost. They did not win, and we knew that because, I mean, we can definitely test the water in terms of the sentimental of a public. So no one really likes USDP, and everyone is talking about NLD that they will support. But I mean, we know what they were doing, and we knew what they say in terms of all their justification that they tell that they told lie. And after all this time, they made all sort of announcement. See, I just give you one example that there was this announcement on news saying that the military is trying to reconcile with the NLD. So it was such a kind of a classified information, pretending that it was leaked. So they made us believe that they are not to be blamed, but the blame is only to be the NLD. But in the reality, there are many, many soldiers who are not allowed to go to the polling station, and there are there are soldiers who are controlled by them, had chance to cast vote multiple times. There were USDP supporter soldiers as well. So what happened is that they went to one constituency, casting the vote over there, and then these group of people move around another constituency next to this one, and then they cast vote again as well. So you don't really, I mean, you are not allowed to cast more than one single vote, right? But you know, they had all these kind of measures, schemes actually, to really manipulate for the USDP to win, but it was not the case. Thank you. You talked about the, thank you very much for your contribution. You talked about the advance vote. Advance vote are there for the specific individual who had health problem and who were in quarantine center for COVID intervention. So basically, advance vote is not something that everyone can vote freely. So basically, we can definitely see that advance votes advance votes were manipulated with every scheme, every measures by the military institutions. And you also talked about that there are there were individual soldiers um, casting votes more than one time. Indeed, these are all their tactics, really, to distort the election in order for the USDP party to win. We can clearly see that. Next, I also would like to ask another speaker. My question would be around why they staged the coup, although they have every power of the country, right? So this question is to go Win out. What are their attempts really to plot this coup d'etat? Thank you. There were deliberate measures, attempt by military institution to distort the trust between and among NLD and the ethnic organizations. And they blacklisted the AA Arkan army and they cornered NLD to have multiple multiple level of crisis. They also plot a bomb incident in front of the election commission. I was in a unit. It was a radar unit. Um, and while I was in this radar unit, our unit were asked for voter list multiple times. I got suspicious. I mean, we explained to them that we gave our name to cast a vote already one time. Why we are asked again? And we got irritated by being asked the voter list of our radar unit again and again. And we were so pissed at some point that we say that we know what was your intention. Our soldier got very irritated, saying that, well, you know what? How many times that you ask our name list again and again, your USDP will never win. So people got very irritated. Soldiers got very irritated. And then there is this advance vote that they mentioned that we are required to cast a vote in advance to the election. And they did not ask if we wish to do so. We were forced by our leader, Aung that uh, saying that, you know what, you don't have to cast a vote in person yourself. We cast all of the votes to USDP on behalf of you. We were ferocious, and um, there were soldiers who like NLD, and the leader somehow knew the soldiers um, appreciate NLD, then these soldiers were verbally abused in the meetings, saying that why you had to like this kind of party. So basically, um, Dante Nandalamian from USDB, and they have all this unethical campaign and everything. And then the speaker of the military, Zor Zominton, made all sort of press conference with all these papers, all these books and everything, but we all knew that they were fake. And what happened is that the teachers were so ferocious. The teachers were volunteers of the polling station. When the military said that there were fake votes, there were electoral irregularities, this is to say then it has the connotation or it has the meaning that the teacher volunteers were not doing their job. So that's why the teacher were very angry. So And after that, the after the election result was issued, the commander-in-chief pressure the president, and the commander-in-chief pressure the electoral commission to explain about all these irregularities. I mean, who is he to make such kind of claim? Because um, there is no irregularities. And in one of the press conference, the military spokesperson were asked, would there be the possibilities of coup d'etat? So then the military spokesperson at the time said that there is nothing that is impossible. So people got very angry as a whole because that person already hint that there would be coup d'etat. Again, the coup d'etat that they staged is still not being succeeded. The thing is that the Min Online is actually committing the high treason. He commit all the crimes against the president and against the state councillor and against the whole country. And this coup d'etat will never be succeeded as long as we have the public revolting them. Thank you. Indeed, they distorted the image of NLD. They created a Rohingya issue. They try to have NLD losing their face at the international community, and Aung San Suu Kyi image at international level got very much damaged, right? Due to all their tactics and due to all their wit and everything. And they started the Rohingya issues as well, right? And and what happened is that everyone knew that USDP will never win because USDP never um, look after the public. Only in NLD government's time, the education material provision is there in military. In COVID time, there were there were all sort of assistant measures to the soldiers, to the general public. But whereas the commander-in-chief Min Aung Hlaing made an announcement that the soldier salary will be cut for 6 months in COVID time. But whereas the NLD government time really support with all the cash assistance and material assistance to everyone, even to the soldiers as well. And then we know that the commander-in-chief is really taking care of their own personal interest and for their family, but without looking after the soldiers and their families. Now, thank you very much for your contribution in line with this. Now, I would like to invite Machi Bia Win. Machi Bia Win will tell about how she is used as a slave or servant by the superior in the military. And there are all sort of propaganda um against NLD, against Aung San Suu Kyi. So can you please share about this kind of situation? If you have any experience of such kind of propaganda, were you exposed to any of this? Thank you. While I was in military after the coup d'etat, there, I mean, the women were tiptoeing with all the uh, nasty words towards the towards Aung San Suu Kyi. Burma Army was formed by the father of Aung San Suu Kyi. Now look at her daughter. Her daughter really is trying to abolish the army that was once set up by the by her father. So this foolish lady is trying to damage the whole country. Don't follow them. Don't listen to her. So there was this kind of talk happened among the wives, soldiers' wives as well. And even around the election campaign, we were told that not to cast a vote to NLD. And we all knew that when NLD would hold the power, the military cannot do whatever they want. So that's why we are told with all these propaganda messages, and they told us that, you know what, never support the NLD, the Red Party. The Red Party, it's not perpetual. The military, it's perpetual. There is no way that the military will be abolished. The military will be disappeared. There is no way. So don't stick to them, but stay with us. So this kind of, propaganda happened as well. And after the coup d'etat, CDM movement happened as well. And then in the CDM movement, some of our colleagues joined the CDM movement. And then there were propaganda messages that, you know what, don't join to the CDM movement. If you join to the CDM movement, you will be killed by the outside leaders, by the other groups. And I thought that it was the case, and I actually got the call from one of my wife. I'm sorry, one of wife of the soldiers, and I cried when she called me. I thought that she was killed, and then she said that, well, it is not the case. We were treated very humanely. So, what I would like to say is that don't listen to their propaganda message of CDM. No one got killed joining CDM. Thank you. I also would like to ask you one thing. In the military, the superior wives would came up with all sort of propaganda message to them. Oh, they talked about that. Well, if NLD would winning one, the country will turn into the Kala country. Kala is the it's a discriminated words to Indian or to the foreigner. So what they say is that, well, Dawn San Suu Kyi got married to foreigner, the Kala. So when she is in the power, this country will make the country of Kala or the foreigner. So we were told like that. But when she was in office, we've got 40,000 cash assistant, and our children got free education. So she was visiting around the country and helping those who are in need. In the military, the the children of the soldiers uh, got got some materials, some uniforms during her time, and in CDM movement when we joined them, and our children got around 10,000 baht cash assistance for children education. So we were treated much better anyway than we were treated while we were in military. Thank you. Thank you very much for your point. Uh, we were told that the NLD is pro-Muslim. NLD is a pro-Kala, the foreign, the Indian. Dawn San Suu Kyi herself is the wife of a foreigner. So there are all these personal attack messages we were told by our superiors as well. But then again, the people on the ground actually know who is good to them and who is not good to them. Thank you very much, Matibia. Next, we would like to start the second round of our panel discussion. Again, audience, member of public, please share your thoughts, your question while you are observing through the chat box. Cô Nê Win Aung, I would like to ask you one thing. Before coup d'etat, they had all sort of sustainable, systematic propaganda. After the coup d'etat, they continue their propaganda campaign as well. So they are very much intensified with their propaganda campaign in order to really do the internal organizing after the coup d'etat. Now, I would like to ask you, after coup d'etat, what are the changes to the family members of the
အာ
soldier?
ဏာသိမ်းတာနဲ့ပတ်သက်ပြီးတော့စစ်ကောင်းဆောင်တွေကတက်တွင်းဆွေးနွေးပွဲတွေတွေ့ဆုံပွဲတွေမှာရွေးကောက်ပွဲမဲမ
About the
သမာမှု
coup,
ဆိုပြီးတော့
the
အာဏာသိမ်းခံ
military,
ရမယ်ဆို
the
တဲ့
leaders always
အကြံဉာဏ်တွေ
explain
တက်တက်
that
ကြွကြွ
we have
ပြော
to
ခဲ့တယ်
control the
တက်တွ
state
င်းဆွေးနွေး
power
ပွဲတွေမှာ
because of the
တက်ရောက်တက်
fraudulent the voter list as well as on the voter election electoral frauds. And in every public meeting inside the military, the regimental commanders will always talk about that they have no choice but to control the country because of that as well. And they will always say that NLD government is not legitimate. It's not a legitimate government, and they always are pushing certain words into the ears of the families of the military servicemen as well. And then they will always be sharing the propaganda about the NLD as well as on that they will always make unfounded allegations again and the NLD as well. And the worst thing is that what they would do is they would take the photos of that CDM soldiers in that as well, and they would make it make it for say like these are the list of the cowards for those CDM soldiers, that and then the photos are many because of course they don't even have the enough space on the signboard on the poster board, because sometimes they said that they even have to put it on the ceiling because of the these are the higher number of CDMs as well. CDMs are they are also like they were accused the CDMs of abusing the states, there's the regimental funds, and that they are being they are running away because they're going to be charged by the military, things like that as well. And that there are also a lot of very that discriminatory like that is saying so the narrative against the CDM soldiers. After the coup, the soldiers are not allowed to go out of out of the military base as well. Their ID cards have been seized by the military because they don't feel they're safe. They don't want us to go out. They don't feel secure because they have a lot of fear still inside the military. That some of the seniors officials they that military officers they play golf and they love playing golf, but now they are afraid to go out and playing golf. And although they are soldiers are supposed to be having the short hair like the crew cut, to wear like very systematic kind of clothing, but now they are like keeping their head longer so that they won't be they won't they that we will not know them as soldiers, and that they will also be trying to at different like and then some of the soldiers who try to keep their hair longer, they will be scolded, and they would be scolded and verbally abused by the senior officials, saying you don't look like you don't look like soldiers now. And because the military did the wrong thing, soldiers are now afraid and they don't want to recognize as such, so they try to add them, and they feel that they are no longer safe. So some of the that non-commissioned officers or the sergeants from the Air Force, and they are from the Air Force, and that they will say that, oh, well, our commander in chief is useless. If the commander in chief of the Air Force, stand by the people, then this war will be over. This revolution will be over. They will just say like, they should just work with them. We have some of the senior surgeons are like they are almost at the age of retirement. We're saying, when are you going to join the CDM? That they, when I joke him, they say, well, where do I go? And he said, well, we should join the people's side. But he said, oh, I'm too old. That my hair is like my hair has to turn totally gray, and I can no longer fight like the PDF. So I was joking him, don't feel bad. Myanmar is older, and Myanmar will is gonna give you 2 year extension of service. And he will like, no, that's this son of a bitch has been destroying our life. That we are struggling, we are facing challenges, but just before we have retirement. So all these more senior, like elderly soldiers, that they don't like the coup, and they would always complain. And I always say them that, well, that that there will be a military is going to extend their service for another 5 years. They said that, well, we are very unlikely indeed to become a part of the soldier and a Myanmar. So some of the senior officials from the Air Force currently, that they have been that there has been a clear nepotism and favoritism in giving promotion. So commander-in-chief of the Air Force, they will only give a promotion to those people who trust, who some like there is a junior officer named So Wimye, and then he was given the post of a senior general. And there are there are other like Brigadier General Yadaw, or they can also have like others like a Deputy Senior General, the Deputy the General. They are not giving important promotions, and the junior person who gets along with him was giving the promotion to a senior, to the senior general. And some of the senior military officers, they are quite sick and tired of being left over by nepotism. So some of the generals are even submitting their resignation letters, and that some of the regimental commanders also are refusing to fight under the military, and some of those regional commanders are even refusing to follow the orders. The more they refuse the order, the more they feel frustrated with the military. It will also definitely bring us closer to the goal of the revolution. Thank you, Sia Newea. I also would like to add you a few follow-up questions, but thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing that about that the fighting against the military, resisting the military. Without the resist, the military has been targeting the civilians. The military is not discriminatory, the civilian community. And we have heard and heard once again and again and numerous times about the military targeting civilian targets, civilian objects in the area bombardment as well. I also like to hear from your thoughts on that as well. What about the watermelon or the military informants, those who are in the military but who act as informant for the democratic forces? What about these watermelons? Can you also share a little about how they are and how they have been giving information as well? Well, like right now, Commander-in-Chief of the Air Force is following the orders of Myanmar blindly. He doesn't even look at what is right or wrong. He gave the order as Myanmar told him to, and he is bombarding anyway. That as well, because they are bombing everywhere. That I would say that Commander-in-Chief, the way he has been bombarded, there's no strategy, there's no tactic. He's just bombing where military that Myanmar told him to, and he is desperate. That's also show how desperate and how crazy they is, because Air Force has been proving themselves to be cruel and in committing such atrocities. It doesn't matter how bad they are. We have a lot of watermelons. As both commissioned officers and non-commissioned officer, we receive a lot of information from there. And some of the juniors some of the rank soldiers will reach out to us and say, I want to join the people's side. Can you help me? Can you help me get out? I would say, I have to hold them back. No, you should stay inside. You should stay inside and work for us. Some of them reach out to us. Some are even calling us by phone and say, you make the right decision, sir. We also want to join you. So a lot of very positive feedback from the people. And there's some people who are so angry that they are sharing us intelligence about the military. We have a lot of such people. Indeed, we have a lot of still in service informants for the pro-democratic forces. Thank you, Sianewea. So the Air Force is considered to be more educated than the army, and yet the way the Air Force has been blindly following orders of the more illiterate or less educated the army, it really is also is something we have taken consideration, and that there has also been a lot of problems and in terms of structure issues. They always say that there have been electoral fraud, and they came up with these numbers of 10 millions of voter lists being erroneous and all that. They came up with these crazy numbers, and they will make unfounded allegations, and to say that they will also say that we have seen such a lot of narratives. They are hoping to disparage the image of the NLD as well as on the election as well. That there are also those who cannot leave the military, who cannot retire, who cannot join this. So they know that they do not feel safe staying inside the military, and that after the coup also the military has extended 2 years of service. And some of these those officers who are near the age of retirement, now they have their service term has been extended by 2 years. All this is adding to the issues that they have of safety and lack of security they are feeling. So thank you for sharing. I would like to go back to Meti Biawe. Once again, Meti Biawe, what do you see are the implications as implications of the military coup? Now we are seeing resistance across the country. We are also hearing about a lot of casualties of the soldiers, of the military hunter soldiers being killed as well. And we everybody knows that no, we don't have the military that didn't have as that manpower in in the front lines, not in the military bases as well, and that. And also, we are also very hard stories of the soldiers' family being forced to, add as security guards as well. There are a lot of soldiers are being killed in the front lines, in the battlefields, and their wives are being asked to, provide security for the military. So what's like in the forces that are not being deployed in the front lines right now? Can you also share what kind of situation they are in? Well, so when the coup happened, when the military used its forces to to usurp the state power, and we hear a lot about this as well, because inside the military we hear about casualties, how many have been killed, and that there is a slang for it. We call it mohinga, a soup provided for the funerals. They would usually say that, oh, there are today's we have how many bowls of banana, saying how many people have been killed. So we have seen that regimental commander as well as on the 2IC, they left their front line, that the senior officers returned back, and leaving all the soldiers behind. And that shows that how fractured the military structure is. And that we have heard also about that the senior, therefore, like we always so hear stories like 4 were killed, 10 were injured. We hear a lot about that. We hear from the, those friends still inside the military. They are the watermelons who share with us as well. And also that the wives of the soldiers have to provide security. For example, like we had to do the same. My husband was deployed in Rakhine State, and then they only have like 120. So in the our base, we have like a 10 women. We have like a clerk, military clerk, and then we have to provide security. And they will say that, okay, you are assigned to secure this area. We have to do that. And militaries, they don't have enough manpower, so they only left one soldier behind, and this one soldier will have to work with the 10 other the five of the families to provide security for the regiment. And when they have to go and do a patrol, so at the central security post, we have like only women, the fives of the soldiers remain. We have like 1 and 2 here, 1 and 2 at the other security gate. Even our children have to, have to stand guard of the military. We have to patrol the barracks. We have to patrol the officers in the regiment area. So we have to do that. That they will give us a weapon. They will give us about the 2 magazines. About that was about 250 bullets, and then like every security gate will have 3 guns, 3 small guns with the bullets, and then we are supposed to stand guard as well. And we know that situation in the front line is horrible. That we know that our husbands are facing a lot of danger, and that as well. So that because in the British culture, we believe that if you recite the message Sota, and then that will be, you'll be safe. So the wives of the soldier have to recite this all day long, for them that their husbands will feel safe as well. And then we are also that our information, we don't have access to information as well. So they also have a lot of propaganda as well, and that they make people very worried about that as well. That so people we don't learn about it. So they have a lot of propaganda against the soldiers defecting or joining the people's side as well, and they have a lot of propaganda say as well. But however, soldiers don't want to stay there. The families are afraid, but they sometimes they don't have the information that they will be taken care of, or that there will be a system for them. So they are afraid, and they have to stay. But because I think it is important to raise awareness on them, so they understand that at least that their husbands will be safe, for they no longer have to serve in the front lines. They will also feel safe. But however, a lot of them, they still remain in the barrack, but slowly they are also leaving the military. So military is like a sinking ship. In the end, there will be nothing but empty barracks. And then we always, whenever something happens, women talk to each other. Even the officers' wives don't know that we know that this, we know people know each other. So it will go into the internet, like how many have been killed in this regiment as well. That often they know that they know which soldier have been killed. We we know that he has been injured. They often that wives of the soldiers are talking to each other because they hear from it as well. So in this group, for example, like in the Dhamma recital groups, also that those they know where they are, they know their husband, where their husband are, that no, because they actually in the message, when you recite it, one part of the word is that you have to mention where the soldiers are, so they already heard about that, so they know that where they are when they recite this. So all the other information they make it confidential or top secret, but in reality that wives of the soldiers know where their husbands are. And then also we also heard about information about what is happening. They heard about the casualties as well as on the injured, and even recently more than 10 soldiers were okay. And that the fact that they were in a regiment that I see, the scene commander as well as on the and the regiment commander had been detained in the they have been held on that because they came back from the fighting. That it's easy to infiltrate the military, and that that because, and I'm not doing that because these women, they are living in great insecurity. They have been pushed, they've been ordered they are being ordered to stand guard. And we heard that sometimes some of the officers in charge of the families can be horrible, and that and they know that their husband, they are already under a lot of stress because their husbands are in the front lines, and they are also being ordered to do things by the, so they are so unhappy because of the abuse and that and the bullying of the officers. So some of the sometimes the wives of the military officer might not know, but wives of the soldiers, they know what is happening as well. So I just keep telling them that don't listen to the propaganda of the military, because what they are saying are the propaganda, and just join the CDM because it will be much easier for you. So that because sometimes they create a lot of not fake news to that as well. For example, like for us, we joined the CDM by the family, and then they told the others in our regiment that we have been killed, all of us have been killed. So the military is very afraid of more soldiers joining the CDM, because that is going to destroy the institution as a whole, because it is also impossible for the soldiers to live is like soldiers in the long run, because they are weakening and now that there has been a lot of military bases that have been captured, the revolutionary fighters are working really hard. I think that will also really cripple the military. So that's why that we need to contribute, we need to support the resistance fighters, and then so we also working hard so that we can contribute to them what we can. Maybe financially, we are also helping them, reaching out to them by getting the information from the watermelons to share with them as well. I'm also that helping others to leave the military, join the CDF movement, because once you arrive here, that we can help you, we can save you, we can that. But they are afraid of the military's propaganda that they will be killed. So they are surviving hardly, in great hardship inside the military as well. Nowadays, it's really easy for this military to be annihilated, because there has been a lot of casualties. And I heard that just recently in Lakatang fighting, in Lakatang battle, 4 soldiers were killed and many were injured. So and the wives of the soldiers, now they have to stand guard of their barracks, and they have to be afraid of the what would when they will be captured, or when they will be laid siege by the revolutionary fighters. Thank you, Mejibiawe, for sharing that because of the Myanmar thirst for power, and therefore his illegitimate attempts, he is putting the lives of the soldier at risk in the front lines. And that also that that those who are who are remaining inside their military bases, they are living on a fear. They are living in total fear when they will be attacked by the revolutionary forces, as you have explained. That the soldiers are slowly losing their numbers, slowly losing their rank and file, in a way. So they are being taken out by slowly. That as well, that we know that with they even have they were even asked the families to recite the Buddhist sermons on a or the messenger on a daily basis, so that will feel they feel that this could keep them safe as well. But I think the reality on the ground, it is so that the military is facing the threat of the resistance forces as well. Thank you, Matibia, for sharing answer. I also like to read out some of the comments we have received that it is important for the country to prosper. Only when the country prosper, that there will be more freedom, freedom for faith, freedom for religion, as well as and there will also be progress and development with education, as well as in other services as well. It is important for that as well, and that the way the military has been using the religion as a way to mobilize Islamists is just a way of solidifying their power as well, and that the military that even if the military doesn't have anything to do with the election, if there are problems with the election, it is not the work of the military. If we look at we check the electoral rules or the laws pertaining to the election in Myanmar, military doesn't have any responsibility. Military responsibility is to provide security for the country, and that if a political party has lost in the election, they have either the party or their candidates and apply to the Union Election Commission to run or investigate into the election result as well. It is not the responsibility of the military indeed. So thank you to our listeners for listening their comment as well. And then we now have set aside some time for you to come in and discuss with our speakers. So please feel free to take the time. If you have questions, hold them, because we'll be calling on you so that you can discuss and talk with our speakers directly. So I'd like to go to another round so after 2.5 years of the coup, military has not been able to control the country. In other words, this coup has been an attempt because it has failed, and it also is facing incredible resistance from the people throughout the country. The international communities are also putting pressure on the military, and that the country is suffering going through the great economic crisis as well as on the other issues as well. And but recently military has suspended the imprisonment, the sentence of Aung San Suu Kyi, and now she has been placed under house arrest. And so international ambassadors and that embassy foreign missions are also trying to meet her as well. Why is that? I would like to get your take on why do you think the military has suspended Aung San Suu Kyi's imprisonment and transfer her to a house arrest? Why are we talking so much about why we don't do that as well? Okay, I'll try to respond. I would like to say that no more soldiers, no more monks, only the queen left to play. It is, if you look at it, apparently it refers to the chess, but in reality, military are facing a lot of loss. There are no more pawns. There are no more soldiers. Like there are also monks that they use to rally for the nationalist conservative approach, but that monk also is not useful. Now they are playing the queen as to their, trying to use the state councillor Dawn San Suu Kyi as a way. But all of us who are also involved in this revolution, we did not join the revolution not because we supported the NLD. We joined this revolution because that we do not accept the military coup. Some people also think that, oh, if Aung San Suu Kyi Daw San Suu Kyi step in and she is trying to address the issue, and if they don't to say, no, I don't recognize that, and they say that the revolutionary forces and the PDF will not be able to work. Some people tend to think like that. No, it is not true, because not all of us have, we didn't defect because of Daw San Suu Kyi. We defected because we did not accept the military coup. We didn't accept that Myanmar is in the control of the country. That's why we are fighting in this movement as well. Like this expression, like people are saying that no more soldiers, no more monks, only the queen left to play. And like they are trying to use the Aung San Suu Kyi as a it's a political play, it's a political game, that they said they had let her met with their foreign the dignitaries, and that General Jabe also have met with the Chinese emissary, and that that they also promised that they will get a chance to meet with Dosu as well. But actually, they even the fact that they are trying to put Aung San Suu Kyi in the front line, because that means they are desperate. They have no more cards to play, and that's why they are playing the card of Aung San Suu Kyi. They are trying. That's what they are trying to do. That's how I see it. I see it as part of their one of the last stage desperate attempts to control the situation. Thank you, Kujazadu, for sharing, and that shows that that how desperate their military is, how they feel they are being cornered, that Aung San Suu Kyi might be able to help them. They think that they might be able to exploit, having Aung San Suu Kyi in their hands, and that shows clearly their desperation. That's also shows that they are not doing well as well. I also like to ask you a follow-up question, and this is something also a lot of people are interested in, that that we can also consider it as the implication, negative implication of that military coup. I'm sure you also have heard that recently military announced that they will be printing and circulating 20,000 chats, 20,000 chats notes in Myanmar, and they say that it is for the because of the statue of the Buddha at the temple that they are building, so that they are killing the people, they are killing civilians, and yet they are building a temple, and to say that they are the strong supporters of Buddhism, and they use Buddhism as a way that they even want to print another currency, 20,000 jet notes, just to honor the temple that he's building. So I would like to ask a question that this about the all these what do you think? What is the mindset of the Miao line, that he was trying desperately to build a temple, try to do that 20,000 jet notes? Well, I think he is doing that he's trying to do some good things, some merits, but his evil deeds outweigh than that. I think it was even in 2010 that 2020 that he has started to that. So once we even have to go to Mandalay going port, because he wants to build a big pagoda. He wants to actually build the biggest statue of Buddha in the world. Then now we hear about the rumors about the 20,000 jets. No, 20,000 jets, even as rumors, it has caused hyperinflation in Myanmar, that all the economic businesses have stopped as well, that nobody's now, although people are desperate, they lack money, they are not even selling the gold that they have or the dollars they have. The price of a bag of rice, about the 30 kilos of rice, is now more than 100,000 chats, and that's thanks to this rumor, because the value of the money had decreased by 50%. I would say that that whenever you have some money, whenever you have 10,000, as a that if you are like a day laborer, you make 6,000 just a day, 6,000 just a day, you can survive. You still can provide for your family because of this 20,000 just, and people are desperate because the prices have increased total that two times, and right, so we don't celebrate. Another NLD government, there were also and NLD government also printed some money, but this money with the images of generals, this became a collector item. Nobody is using that on the ground. They're using it, they're keeping it as a souvenir. But if you look at the 20,000 notes that the military had just printed out and then minted out, and there's been a circulation, a lot of people are waiting. All these illegals, people are waiting just to make fake money to it as well. They say that they are printing these money in honor of the temple, but they are killing the civilians on the ground. They are targeting the civilian objectives. He's ordering the foot soldiers to burn down villages, and that they are also arresting people, detaining them, and killing them. And now they want he wants to sort of like compensate for his evil deeds, for his killing. He's trying to build a temple. So he seems to be at like a two. He have two parts to him. One part is where he's ordering people to be killed, houses to be burned down, and the other side he is doing the good thing, like building a pagoda. And then, despite the economic challenges of the crisis and the inflation and the prices of the commodity increasing dramatically, that they are doing that as well. That for example, like a lot of all these there has been a lot of implications right now. Whenever we have like a mobile telephone apps where you can transfer money to others, these such cash apps, before you can just send the money, but now if you want to get cash out of these mobile apps, you have to give a certain percentage. It's the same thing. What happened? They have been started from the 2021, and now right now that the value of Myanmar had depreciated to an extent that very soon Myanmar will be going into the absolute crisis, and that with more economic sanctions going on, Myanmar will never be able to recover as well. And that because of the as a ripples effect over that the military printing a new currency that will destroy the people, that will undermine the economy, that he is in fact single-handedly destroying the economy and the lives of the people. And he is desperate, he is crazy, he is in great need, and that's how his act looks like. Thank you for the comment that Myanmar is crazy about power because of the attempted coup which has given rise to inflation. Before the coup, $1 is about 1,200 just now. $1 is nearly 3,300 just before. The price of gold have doubled or literally triple as well. The salaries remain the same. People are not making ends meet, and especially the grassroots community who are earning their daily wages, they are hardly making ends meet, and that also is military is putting the country into a more of a deeper poverty as well. And that because they know that they are doing bad things to the community, they want to compensate that by building a temple. So it's like that's like the expression, that's like the story goes, it began in the 11th century. There was a king who killed his father in order to get the throne, and then he built a temple. Of course, he was assassinated in the temple himself. So like desperate, this is like a very much of a desperate attempt to make sure he know that he's doing the evil things. He was trying to compensate it, repair it by making donation as well. So thank you for your response and sharing. I also like to share set comments made by the people as well, that and that one of the listeners has said that thank you to all the watermelons and who have been sharing important information about the military activities to the people. We hope that you all remain safe as well. And that another comment is said that doesn't matter how much the message or the Buddhism that you recite, it doesn't matter if you are not, your spirit is not clean, if you don't have a clear conscience, then it doesn't matter how many times you recite, it will be totally useless. Another comment, that one last comment I want to read out is that Miao Lai is crazy about power, and he put the entire population into danger, and the implication we are facing are because of his thirst for power, and that's why we need to get rid of him. And also the commentator Codain, you were saying that thank you to those who joined the people's side, those who defend for it. Well, I would also like to respond to you by saying thank you for your wishes, warm wishes. And today we'll be ending our talk show here. So I would like to give a chance to our speakers to say that some words to wrap up the discussion. Matibia, we are going to wrap up today's conversation. So what we would like to say.
Thank you very much for inviting me to be in here. I would like to take this opportunity to invite the soldiers, wife of a soldier, to join in the civil disobedience movement. I really wish that you join the CDM movement. If you join the CDM movement, I am here to help you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Machibia Win. Ko Jozotu, please proceed with your concluding words. Thank you. We have this spring revolution now. Inside the country, there are all of us suffering from everything. Observing this situation, one can clearly identify that the root cause of the problem is main online. Your salary is not enough. Everyone is facing all sort of hardship. On top of that, we have this new banknotes, 200,000 MMK, Myanmar Chats. Well, we are motivated to win in this revolution, and we are united in this revolution because of Min Online. I thank you, Min Online, because you made us motivated to shoot all of you back,
ဟုတ်
actually.
ကဲ့လူတော်လိုင်းရေးမှာအသက်ပေး
Now,
တော်လိုင်းနေကြတဲ့
I would like to invite Go Ne Win On for your
ပြည်သူရင်ခွင်ကိုခိုးလုံးလို့
word of conclusion.
ကျမ်းမှာချမ်းသာကြပါစေလို့တော်လိုင်းရေး
I
အောင်
wish
မြင်ပါစေ
everyone
မယ်လို့လည်း
healthy
ကျွန်တော်
in this revolution.
ယုံကြည်ပါ
I
နော်
really wish this revolution a victorious one soon. And I do believe that this revolution it's the victory. I also would like to say some goodbye words for today. We know that the stage of coup d'etat by Min Online is not succeeded. In this revolution, people are not necessarily in their line of defense. The public are now actually changing their position, actually to attack the military junta. They may use Aung San Suu Kyi as a hidden cards in this game. Whichever cards that they play with, the public wants their ultimate goal, the federal democratic Myanmar. We are proceeding to this. Whichever cards